Okay, I can see your screen.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's class. We are aware that this is the first class for the intermediate track for Power Platform, and specifically, this class is going to be discussing Power Apps and Power Automates and also Power Virtual Agent. So today we are going to look at, this is an intermediate class, this is not a beginner's class. So we'll not really go depth into, or we'll go more advanced, more technical into Power Apps. And today we are going to be looking at functions, so we're looking at variables, and we'll do a very simple explanation of this curriculum, these items on the curriculum that has been mentioned. My name is Victoria and I'm a business applications developer. So like I said, we're going to be discussing functions. And what are functions? Before we say what functions are, PowerFX is the name of the language we use to write or to build applications in Power Apps. So Microsoft PowerFX is the new name for the Canvas apps formula language. You would notice that we'll be writing a lot of formulas and all that as you continue, because you've actually started writing those formulas during the beginner's class. So as you continue, you'll notice that you'll be writing a lot of formulas, and those formulas are actually called the PowerFX. So back to functions. Firstly, functions are what we use to tell our objects what to do. We discussed objects during the last cohort, and that's for the beginners class. So functions tell us what we want our object to do. It is a piece of formula that allows us to change the properties of your objects, tell your object what to do. And yes, when we say objects, what do we mean? Sometimes our object can be a button, it can be a text, it can be a picture. So functions are what we tell those objects to do. So functions takes parameters, functions perform an operation, functions return a value. For example, when you say square root of 25, we're saying, okay, what is the square root of 25? And mathematically, we know that square root of 25 is 5. But you know that the way you even write it in mathematics is actually different from this. Our computer does not understand English language. So we do this to translate to ones and zeros that the computer will be able to understand. So the square root of 25, square root here is actually a function, and it will return a value called 5. Functions in Power Apps are actually modeled after Microsoft Excel functions. So if you notice, or if you've used Excel before now, you know that you write some functions in the Excel function formula bar, and the Microsoft Power Apps has been tailored to or modeled after how Microsoft Excel functions are written. Also, some functions have side effects, such as submit form. The only places where you can write submit form would be on a behavior formula, such as a button on select. So there are some functions that have all those limitations or side effects. You would say the only appropriate place to say submit form will be on the on select of a function. And we would all have access to these slides because we have links to reference to. We might not be able to discuss all the entire functions that we have. In fact, sometimes at the beginning, when you are learning, you don't know all the functions, but you have a list of formula. Microsoft has done it to provide documentations for us to make reference to. So we have the links to the documentation on the slide. Now, still under functions, we have operators and identifiers. And we also have, like, the operators and identifiers falls under different categories. We have the arithmetic operators, we have the string concatenation, we have comparison operators, and we have logical operators. Arithmetic operators are like our plus, minus, multiplication, division, and percentage. This I'm sure would be able to do hands-on to see how this would work. But this is what an arithmetic operation is. You use it to add, subtract. So just like we do in mathematics, in PowerFX, you can also perform these arithmetic operations. We also have string concatenation, and string concatenation is used to merge two strings together. For example, you have a string somewhere that says first name, and you have another that says last name. You want to join the two together to make sure it is the person's full name. How do you do this? You use a string concatenation, and that's the alpha sign, a single one. Use it to join or merge two strings together. We also have comparison operators. These operators are the operators we use to compare two things, or more than two things. For example, we have the equal to, we have greater than, we have less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or not equal to. Also, we have logical operators. We are going to see all this when we are done with the slide. We are going to do like a demo session of it. We have logical operators. And logical operators, for example, the first one is and. You can either write and with two ampersand, or you write and the way it is written on the screen. We also have another logical operators, which is or. You write or with that two strokes, or you write it using or. And we also have not. So not is written with exclamation mark, or you write it in words, not. So we'll see how this works and we'll proceed. We also have variables, and a variable is used to store information to be referenced and used throughout programming or while writing code. Sometimes at the beginning of when your user starts using the application, you might want to, for example, store the time that they launched the application. You would want to store this in a variable so that it can be referenced some other places. And this is an example of, or a minute thing of what we use variables to do. We use variables to store information. I also have attached the link to the documentation where you would understand how variable works. Well, we have two types of variables. The first one is the global variable, and the second is the local variable. So it is just very simple. The difference is this. Global variable is the simplest to use. You can use it to hold a number, a text string, Boolean, record, table, anything. But global variable can be referenced anywhere in the application. So when let's say at the beginning of the app, when my user launches the app, the first screen, I need to store a variable there. After I've set the variable on that screen, I can use, if it is a global variable, I can use it anywhere in the application. It doesn't even matter if it is the last screen. As long as it is in the application, I can use it. And the way we write it is using the set. So you say set, open bracket, your variable name, and also the value. We have another type of variable, and it is called the local variable. So the difference between these two, the local variable is limited to a screen. So when I set a variable on a screen, I can reference it in another screen. And that's just the difference between the two. The way we write the local variable is update context, open brackets, your brace, variable name, and the value of the variable. Now, so I usually used to advise that we use global variables at the right time and use local variables at the right time. Sometimes you have a variable and you don't need to reference it anywhere aside that screen. And in that case, you have to use the local variable. While when you need to reference a variable on multiple screens, you can use the global variable. Now we have collections. We're going to look at all these practically. I just want us to run through it. We have collections, and a collection is used to hold a table that can be referenced anywhere in the app. Sometimes we need to store a temporary information on the app. Sometimes you need to store something from your database to the app. You need real life or real-time data, and you need it to be stored on the app. You don't want to be refreshing your database every time. It's at this point that you use collection, and collection is a table. It is a table that you use to store information, and you can reference it anywhere on the application. It allows the content of the table to be modified rather than be set as a whole. So at some point, you can modify a collection, and we use that using clear collect. So when you say clear collect, you are saying clear what's inside this collection right now and add the value I want to add. When you use collect, you don't want to clear. At that point, you are saying add this current value to the collection. You might have declared the collection at the beginning of the app, and you want to update the values. You would use collect to add to what you already have in the table, add multiple rows and all. But when you want to do clear collect, that means you're clearing what is there and you're adding other new rows. While clear is used when you want to totally clear everything that is in the collection. While we proceed in this training, you will understand that and understand when you have to use all of these. So I'm just going to firstly ask if we have any questions before we proceed to the parts where we would see all of this that has been mentioned. So if you have any question, please ask.
Hi, Victoria.
Hello.
Yes. Okay, so I just want to ask a question, probably to help people that would watch this later, or people that are currently here now. So can you like give a scenario for collection? Can you give a scenario where I can use more like same scenario, but for this I should use clear collect, then for this I shouldn't use clear collect, but I should use collect, you understand? So just collect the whole thing together, something like that. Do you understand the question?
Yes, I do. Thank you for that. So I'm just going to think about a real life scenario. Okay. Let's assume you are building an application that we have to, or we have like a database that has the number of shoes or type of shoes we have in the store. Now, if we are selling shoes, we already have we add new shoes and we already know that those shoes or those items will be submitted to the database. Now on our application, we need to show our users the shoes that we have. For example, I need to order for some shoes or something like that, and I need to show the real-time scenario. Now, I'm an admin, I'm the one adding shoes to the database. At that point, I can add an item to the database. But will that item show real-time in the application? Sometimes it won't. So what we do at this point is at the beginning of the app, maybe on the start of the app, you store the value that you have in the database. Okay, we have 10 numbers. So we have 10 flat shoes, we have 10 bags, we have 5 clothes. We can start at the beginning of that. And when other of those that collection has to be updated. In this case, we would want to clear collect and make sure that we update the recent value to that collection. Sometimes in scenarios where we had a new item. Okay, before now we don't have black shoes, but now we have. We need to add that black shoe to the collection because the collection is the table. In this case, you will just add that to the collection, and that in that case, you're going to use collect. But in scenarios where you want to clear the entire collection, you can use clear. I don't know if that answers questions and that question, or if you have more questions to ask.
Yes, Vicky, that's fine.
Hello, can anyone hear me? All right,
Yes, I can.
thanks.
But I can hear you, but it's breaking a little. But yeah, that's fine.
All right, thank you. So we're just going to go to the app demo side of things so that we can see what we've done or what we can do, like do a real life practical scenario. So I'm just going to create or edit an old app so that we can see. I just hope this doesn't take time to load because okay, let's just wait for it to load. Aside while we're waiting, do we have any questions around what we talked today? Okay, so I noticed that some people just joined, and I would say we've discussed quite a number of things. We talked about collections, talked about functions, talked about variables. And this class is an intermediate class, so we'll continue we continued from where we stopped during the last track. So what we're about to do now is show us a demo or a real life scenario or how these things work. So we're going to talk about functions, we're going to look at how variables work, how to set a global variable, how to set a local variable, and we'll see how these things work. So apologies for the reception. Let's wait for it to load. But while we're also waiting for this to load, I think we have a fuller house now. We might also want to unmute our mic to introduce ourselves. All right, I'll start. I think I'll start with Amara. Amara, can you please introduce yourself to us?
Hold on, hold on. Just hold on. Hello? Hello, Vicky. Victoria.
Yeah, I can
Sorry.
hear you.
Sorry. What did you say?
I said you should introduce yourself.
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. My name is
While
Amara.
we're waiting for this to load, I want us to just get to know ourselves.
Okay. Okay. So my name is Amara India. I'm a business application developer, and I would be taking you alongside Victoria and Omolola on this intermediate journey. Thank you guys for joining us. Then.
Thank you, Amara. I think the next person is Florence. Florence, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, good morning, everyone.
All right, I'm not sure Florence had. Okay.
I'm here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Around the rest of the member on this call. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Florence. Please go ahead.
Okay. My name is Florence Ntali. I've been a trainee of Textilers. I joined the beginners class last time. So I became very interested in the Power Apps and all the likes. So that's why when I saw this link for this second training, I picked interest. I'm a global president of Watch PIF. Watch PIF is also an NGO that empowers women. So I'm the president over there. I love this training, and I hope to use it to upgrade myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Florence. It's nice to meet you. Adetola, can you please introduce yourself? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you.
All right, so I think Adetola is not here. Next person should be Gafar. Gafar, can you please introduce yourself? All right. Leonard, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, good morning, everybody.
Good
Can you hear me?
morning.
Good
Yes, I
morning.
can.
Okay, my name is Leonard KK, and I'm health and safety personnel. So I took interest from the beginner class. I thought I should also gain more advanced knowledge in the class.
All right, thank you for joining us. So we have our screen up, and I'm just going to show us the difference between a global variable and a local variable. Now on this screen, I'm going to say on the invisible of the screen. Hello, can we still hear me? I'm going to say on the invisible of this screen, set my
Yes.
brand color.
Hi.
Set my brand color. Well, let's change it. Brown. Let's see. Logo color. How to set my logo color to black. Now, this is a screen, that's screen 4. I'm going to add another screen. So we'll see if we can reference this logo color in screen 5. Remember that we said this is set. And when you use set, you are declaring a global variable. So I'm just going to do a label, insert a label to show us if we can actually do that. So our logo color so on visible of this screen, that's when this screen appears, our logo color is set to black. Now here, want to reference the logo color. So yeah, we want to reference the logo color, and we'll go back to say on the visible of the screen, logo color is black here. Now, if you notice something, you notice that when this was without a quote, without a double quote, it was saying is expecting a text value. Now, this is a text, but when we want to do that logo color black as a color, I'm going to show you what it looks like now. So this is going to be logo color black. Then I'm going to add a circle that the color would be our logo color. So let's just.
Hello, Victoria.
Yes, please.
Are we to be doing along with you, or we just need to be watching?
Okay, you just need to watch me because it's not more of a big thing. I just wanted us to show us. You can always try it on your own later.
Okay.
All right, remember that we had set our logo color to black. Now, this circle, what should be the color? I decide that I don't want to use this color blue. I want to use my logo color. So rather than typing black here, I'm just going to type my logo color. And we see that the color has changed to black. I can decide to change the color here to green. And because it is on the visible of the screen, that means when this screen appears, change color to green. I'm going to come here and see automatically it has changed. So we use variables to store values, and we can always reference the value anywhere. And for a global variable, you can reference it on a screen that is different from the screen you are referencing it. You can refer to it on any screen. Remember that this was where we set the variable on screen 4, but we are calling it on screen 5, and that's because it is a global variable. For local variables, I'm going to try something now and we'll see what it looks like. So I'm just going to add another line of code here. So if you want to write multiple lines of code, you use this semicolon to separate it, just like we use comma or full stop to separate in English language. So remember that I said for local variables, you use update context. And update context is what we are going to use to set a local variable. PowerApps has IntelliSense. Sometimes you don't need to type everything yourself. The suggestions will come. So I'm just going to do update context, do a brace. What is the variable name? I'm just going to say shirts brand. What's going to be a shirt brand? Let's see. Oh, let's do shoe brand. Shoe brand. And I'm going to say Nike. So don't forget. Now, one other thing, interesting thing is once you are missing out something, you get to see this error or this red notification. This is to show you that something is actually not correct. So I'm just going to add my closing brace, and that is it. Now, I'm going to add a label on this same screen, that's screen 4. A SAT, a label. I've done that. And what I'm going to say is the text should be my shoe brand. Now, I have to go away from this screen because I said on the invisible of that screen is when we should set the variable. Notice that I only have to reference shoe brand here. Now, when we come to screen 5, that is a different screen entirely. This is a local variable. Let's see if we can reference it in screen 5. Shoe brand. You would get an error, and the error will be invalid. Name isn't valid. Shoe brand isn't recognized. But we did not have that error when we're on this screen. This is how a local variable would work. A local variable is limited to a screen. You can only reference it in that specific screen. Do we have questions before we proceed to looking at the others?
I have a question.
Please go ahead.
The question I have, this writing code in getting color, is it different from getting color from the property? There's a place when you are designing your app or whatever thing you're doing on the canvas area. There's a place at our right hand where you have properties from where you can now select from where you can now select the colors that you want to give to your design. So this writing of formula now, is it quite different from that?
All right, thank you very much for that question. So it depends on how you actually want to build your application. But it is always advisable if you are building a business application and the color that you want to reference is, you've already been given the color. Let's assume the color is not just black. You have to, the designer has given you a color code. If you don't want to be looking for or be typing the color code on every screen or every places you have that button, on start of the app, you can set a variable to store that value of the color. So all that you have to do in other places is to reference the color. I don't know if I've answered your question. So you can use the two. All right, thank you. So any other question before we proceed to the next thing? I see there are no more questions. Olunia, are you saying something?
No.
All right. So the next thing I want us to look at is collection. Now, the scenario would probably be looking at is, I think on this application, we'll add a data table somewhere around here, and we'll actually have a data source attached to this. Now, this is the data table, and it shows us what we have on our database. We have a database called shoe colors, and these are the type of shoes we have. These are the colors that we have. Now, how do you know that a collection has increased or not? I'm going to do this. I'm going to add a button so that we'll use the button to understand how it is going to work. So this is a button. I'm going to zoom in so we can see clearly. This is a button. I'm also going to add a label. So remember that we have a data table, and our data table has these items. Now, I want to store what is inside here to a collection so that I don't have to do it multiple times or refresh my data source. So what I'm going to say is, on the unselect of this button, on the unselect of the button, clear collect, now you have to give your collection a name. I'll just say collection shoes. Next thing is a comma. And now remember that a collection is a table. So you have to store the value of the table. And this is what we actually want to store, what is inside the data source. So I'm just going to do shoe colors and close my bracket. Now, this text, I'm just going to, so that you know that the collection is actually increasing. We're going to do count rows, our collection name, and that's collection shoes. So we've not done anything. That's why our collection, the number of rows that we have in the collection is 0. Now, a clear collect, remember that we wrote clear collect. A clear collect is we're going to click this button, and what is going to happen is it would count the number. We already have a collection set. I'll show you where you can see that collection. But this is the number of items that we have in that collection. Now, to see the collection itself, you would go to File, go to Collections, and we have collection shoes. This is the value that we have in it. The number of rows that we have is 5. Now, if I click on this button, this is, remember I said clear collect to clear what is there and add what we currently have, the value. So if I click on this button again, what will happen is this will just update to 5. It will clear what is there and add new item. It is not going to add an item to this without clearing it. But in a case where we'll do a collect, or let's do a clear first. In a case where we'll do a clear, what a clear is going to do is, you would say, for clear, you just say clear the collection. And let's wait for the internet. Oh, sorry. Or let's do a collect so that we'll see how it works. All you have to do is collect the collection name, collection shoes. And the value that you want to store, that's our data source. Two colors. We'll still go and check now what the value of collection shoes is. Collection shoes. It is empty, there's nothing there. Now I'm going to click on that button, and you've also seen that the count rows is saying it is 0. I'm going to click on this button. It has increased to 5. Because it is a collect, if I click on this button again, it will increase to 10. If I click on this button, it will continue increasing. And if you go and check the collection here, you would see that this is actually supposed to be 5, but on, oh, sorry, I think I've closed it. On the application, it will show that it has been increased. That means we've added more items to that collection. And when you do a count rows, you'd see that it increased from 5 to 10 to 15. So the number of times you click on that button, you would continue adding to that collection. But for clear collect, you would clear what is there and add to it. While collect means your collect is used when you actually want to clear the entire collection. Do we have any question?
All right. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Please confirm you can hear me.
Okay, I can hear you.
All right. So currently Victoria's system just went off, but thank you so much for joining today's lesson. So please ensure that everything we did today, ensure that you practice it. And now the beauty of this is that we don't only teach, we also mentor. So meaning that once you practice and you have any error, please have a screenshot, send it to the group, and somebody will definitely answer you. Is that fine? Hello, can you hear me? Hi, can somebody hear me? Florence, Amara, Rachel, Jafar, Chikozie.
I hear you.
All right, all right. So
Yeah, I can hear you.
okay. So like I said again, everything that she has done, please let's try to just do it again. Collection, colors, variables, global variables, all of that. Please let's try to do everything and have it. If we have any errors or if you have anything at all, please send it to the group. Somebody will be there to answer you. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll meet again next week, same time and same link. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a nice day. Thank you. Thank you. All right, please let's drop off the call. Yes. I see your question. It's recorded. The call is recorded. Please let's drop off the call so that the recording can save and everybody can have access to it. Hello, please can we hear me? Amara, are you here?
I hear you.
Yes, I can hear you, Amanda.